A rate increase is on the way for Jasper water customers. More on that. Plus, Carrie Schneider has this week's report with our friends at the DuBois County Humane Society, and Michelle Bauer discusses the DuBois County Special Olympics 5K run tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Happy St. Patrick's Day, I'm Bradford Raths. Jasper water customers will be seeing a rate increase in the not-so-distant future. Last night, the Jasper Utility Service Board discussed a recent rate study done by Umbaugh and Associates. That study recommended a rate hike in response to ongoing revenue shortages. Now, the money shortage is attributed to unfunded mandates such as the ongoing UV project and a drop in usage brought on in large part by the closing of the Jasper power plant, who had been one of the city's largest water customers. Now, how much the rates would increase is still being worked out. Utilities General Manager Bud Hauersperger says Umbaugh's initial proposed increase was too high. He says the utilities are working with the firm to find an increase that is more palatable to customers. Hauersperger says that effort will include ways to refinance various project loans.
All those costs need to be covered. Those loans need to be paid back. So we're looking at paying those back over a longer period of time rather than try to pay them off real quick, which is kind of what was done in the original study. We're trying to delay those payments, stretch them out so that your payments aren't as high on a month-to-month basis, and that we hope will help reduce any kind of increase in water rates.
A recommendation on the rate increase will likely be made at next month's Utility Service Board meeting. The last water rate increase to be enacted in Jasper was 2010. Proposed artificial turf for Jerry Brewer Alumni Stadium is now at a crossroads. Last night, Jasper Football Booster Club President Richard Farr updated the Greater Jasper School Board on the ongoing effort. Fundraising's been underway since mid-January now. Farr says a number of cornerstone companies have committed money to this project. Thus far, Farr says fundraising has brought in roughly $250,000. The boosters need to raise nearly $850,000 to fund the turf installation. Farr stated one of the hurdles thus far has been the desire of companies to spread their donation out over a number of years rather than giving a lump sum of money up front. In spite of this, Farr says he has been pleased with the response.
Well, I think this response has been very good given the fact that we're asking for advertising dollars at a significant level that are not in companies' immediate budgets. From Ruxer to GAB to Old National, Ubilor is considering. We've got a couple other companies that are in the mix. So I think the response has been pretty good for the amount of money we're asking for in short notice without it being in their budgets.
Now, the boosters will be selling mulch over the coming weeks as part of the fundraising effort. Farr expects the mulch could raise an additional $400 to $500 this year. And for those who may be on the fence about donating, Farr says the stadium improvements will serve a purpose that stretches beyond football.
We could get a lot more utilization out of our field for band, for track, for soccer, for baseball. I mean, there's just a lot of people that could use, a lot of athletes and band members that can use that field, whether it's rainy or not. So I think we're missing out on that. We run the risk of potentially losing a band contest or if we're not able to provide a field that they can perform on.
At this point, Farr says the turf installation will likely be put off for at least another year until the money can be raised. Now, after Farr spoke, the board agreed that the field will need to be maintained in order for it to be used this upcoming season. The board approved sprigging the field this spring at a cost of about $30,000. Jasper's Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center has named the nominees for this year's Little Company of Mary Outstanding Physician Award. The award is now in its third year, and the 6 physicians with the most nominations are eligible. This year's nominees are Dr. Mary Burgesson, Dr. Cindy Casey, Dr. Stephen DeWitt, Dr. Frank Hopkins, Dr. Joseph Munning, and Dr. Sohail Kadir. The award is named in honor of the Sisters of Little Company of Mary, who sponsor Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center. It's based on outstanding job performance that reflects the core values of the hospital, and those values are respect for human dignity, compassionate caring, stewardship, quality, and justice. To be accepted as a nominee, a physician must be classified as a member of Memorial's active medical staff for at least 12 months and be in good standing. This year's LCM Award will be presented at the hospital's Medical Staff Appreciation Banquet, which is coming up next month. For more information on each of the nominees, you can go to mhhcc.org. And finally tonight, a Boonville woman has pleaded guilty to charges filed in connection with the death of a man whose body was found at the Alcoa plant in Warwick County. Jade Stigall appeared in Warwick Superior Court yesterday and pleaded guilty to assisting a criminal. In exchange for her guilty plea, murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and a firearms charge were dismissed. Stigall is set to be sentenced on April the 9th. The 24-year-old Stigall was charged in the death of 35-year-old Joseph Nelson of Martinsville. Warwick County authorities say Stigall and the three other men, David Lackey Jr., Matthew McAllister, and Sean Grigsby, met Nelson at the Fairfield Inn in Evansville during the overnight hours of February 20th of last year. The group then led Nelson to an area along a railroad track on Boonville-New Harmony Road. Nelson was shot once in the head after being told to kneel with his hands behind his back. Authorities say Nelson's body was loaded into a coal car after the shooting, and his body was found at the Alcoa plant at around 8:15 the morning of February 20th. Now, Grigsby pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder charges back in July of last year and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Lackey Jr. and McAllister are still awaiting their trials on murder charges. All right, coming up after the break, Carrie is next with our friends at the DuBois County Humane Society, and later on, more on an interesting upcoming 5K run being hosted by the DuBois County chapter of Special Olympics. We're back after this.